All right, let's get started. Let's start first with questions. We hit a lot yesterday as far as the outbound script goes, and what the processes are. Let's start with some questions. Do you guys have any questions?
I know last night as we were going through, Nicole and you also, Anthony, pointed out that there are places in the script where it's reworded to be better.
Right.
I know we can't use that word. Shame on me. I use that word
Right.
better.
Right.
But anyway, is that something you guys are producing, or we just need to go back in and figure out where those changes should occur?
There really is only a couple of different spots, and no, we're not producing that on purpose, because we're giving you the CMS approved script.
Right.
There really is only a couple spots, and it has to do with number one, where you talk about the enrollment portion. Nicole was basically saying, she doesn't say, would you like to do an enrollment? Instead, she says, and now the next step is for us to do the enrollment.
Right. Okay.
That's one area. There was one other question yesterday that I pointed that out. Give me 1 second and I will tell you where it is. When we talk about the specific primary care physician, it's kind of your wording of, instead of saying your doctor's not a part of the WellCare network, would you be willing to change primary care doctors? You have to figure out how often it is that they're using that doctor before you go into that. If it's a PPO, you may not want to say yet, if that's where you're going to go. You may not want to say yet your doctor's not a part of the WellCare network until you get to that point of figuring out, if it's the same benefits in and out of network, there's no reason for you to say that until later on when you're going through that summary of benefits. That's one spot where we would adjust the words a little bit. Things like, in order to find the right plan, would you be willing to give me the name and doses of the prescription drugs? It has to be, what is the name of your, not would you be willing to give me. It's what is the name of your, the drugs that you're taking now and the dosage.
Got you. Okay.
It's kind of just a couple of words here and there, just based on your sales experience. It kind of makes you cringe to say something like, would you be willing to?
Right.
And the deeper you go on the question, on your questions, the more you make them feel like, oh, okay, I'm getting closer to get this. I'm getting closer. So what else that you need from me? So it's not going to be like, believe me, it's going to be smooth and easy for most part. When you start, like, we passed the doctors, we passed the SPOP, we passed the doctors are okay. So going further with more questions, they will be willing to give you answers for the questions because they feel like, all right, we like one step away from getting all the benefits that he was talking about.
Right. I hate to be dumb. I asked it yesterday. What is SPOP again? I didn't write it down.
That is the special populations line, and that is in order to determine if someone is LIS eligible or dual eligible, or what level of extra help they're getting. That's the purpose of that line.
Okay, got you. Okay.
But again, using the Ascend app, which Jeanette's actually going to share with you today, a lot of times you're going to be able to get that information without even calling SPOP.
Thank you.
There was one other spot in the script too. At the very end, right before we go into this inbound script, it says on the script, would you mind calling me back so that we complete the enrollment? It's what I need you to do is call me back so that we can complete the enrollment.
Right.
So this script was absolutely positively not written by a salesperson. It was written by some compliance person, without a doubt.
I have a question.
Sure.
I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yep, go for it.
Of these 300 plans or 200, and however many plans that this particular rep has sold this year, how has he created so many SEPs?
Keep in mind that quite a bit of the WellCare leads that we're working are auto assignees. So because of it, there's so many duals and low income subsidies.
Okay.
So that's,
But even now, that wouldn't be applicable now.
you mean during AEP?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's additional leads that WellCare has already identified were not dual or low income subsidy. So we did not get them throughout the whole year, and now we're going to get them for open enrollment.
Got it. Okay, I get it now.
Okay. Any other and by the way, the intention is outside of open enrollment that you will continue to get leads that have been scrubbed for LIS and dual status. Not to say there's not some in there that don't have an SEP. All of our salespeople have a lot of people that they're going to be calling back starting next week because they didn't have a special election period. Maybe they lost their LIS status or not. But the intention is even after AEP, you're going to continue to get these leads that are low income subsidy and dual so that you can work all year long. We're a 12-month shop, guys. Open enrollment is nothing more than a pain in the butt for us. We like to roll 12 months a year. But it's still when a lot of businesses, 50% of the business is done during AEP. So, okay. So now we get to the point where this person has called you back. This person's been transferred over to you. And Nicole, this is where I go over to you. I said yesterday, we like to tell people what it is we're going to do. Then we like to do it. And then we like to tell them what we've just done. So Nicole basically wrote this first part. This very first section of the inbound script is something that Nicole basically wrote as this is how I tell people what's going to happen. And let me get any of the questions they may have out of the way now so that we could be smooth once we're going through the enrollment. So Nick, go for it.
Okay, so really quickly, it is very, it's imperative how you end. I'm sorry, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you really loud.
Oh, okay, sorry. It's very imperative how you end the sales call, basically, and go into and transition into this enrollment call, okay? So you want to put an urgency of how you close out that call, okay? You got all your information that you need. You answered all questions that you were supposed to answer, and now you're moving to the next step. You again, just like Anthony said, you're not asking them to call you back. It's just basically telling them what the next step is. Medicare requires that enrollments be completed on an incoming call only. And since I called you today, you have to give me a call back on the enrollment line. Okay, that's also a recorded line. It's going to record the entire enrollment. It is for your security. Okay, so I'm going to get everything up and running here. I'm going to fill out everything that I need to fill out. What I'm going to need you to do, go grab your Medicare card and your Medicaid card. You're going to need that for the enrollment. Okay, when they call back, they're already prepared with everything that they need for the enrollment. All right, and then I just go into the enrollment script telling them what I'm going to do. I tell them the process of the enrollment. I tell them the role that I'm going to play, as well as the role that they play in the whole enrollment. Okay. Now, Mrs. Jones, before I begin the enrollment, let me just explain how the enrollment process goes so you know what to expect. I'll start the recording by reintroducing myself. I'll let you know that the call is being monitored and recorded for quality assurance, and I'll ask for your permission to continue. Once you give me permission to continue, I'll ask you to confirm if you placed the call in. I'll ask if you're completing this application for yourself or for someone else. You'll answer accordingly. And then I'll be asking a series of questions. Okay. Now these questions will determine why you are eligible for these benefits at this time of year. Now that's outside of open enrollment, of course. All right. You'll answer yes or no to each question. Once we get to the question, do you have both Medicare and Medicaid, or whatever the question is that determines their special election period? Okay, they're answering yes to, you're going to answer yes. Yes, I'm sorry, you'll answer yes, and this will enable me to move forward with the enrollment. Okay, I'm going to be reading through a bunch of disclosures, some of which does not pertain to you. However, these disclosures have to be read on every single recording that I do. All right, there's going to be something in there about a late enrollment penalty. This is for people who did not enroll in a prescription plan at the time of enrolling in their Medicare Parts A and B. However, you've had your WellCare prescription plan for quite some time. All right. I'm also going to talk about a premium and ways to pay it. This is not applicable to you because the plan does not have a premium. Now, there are some plans that have a small premium, okay, through which you will mention what the premium is. Yes, this plan has a premium of $14.10. However, you have a low-income subsidy at a level 1 at 100%, or you're getting extra help through Social Security that will cover that and zero it out for you. All right. Remember, it's a zero premium plan. By default, the WellCare system will generate a coupon book for you that says $0. So when you get to that part, when we get to that part of the enrollment, please respond coupon book. Now, if there's something that I read that you quite don't understand, please feel free to stop me and we'll go over it. I'll conclude the recording with a confirmation number for you to write down and keep for your records, and you'll have your benefits by October 1st. All right, so this part, like I said, it's very important to go over it however you choose to let your person know what's going to happen. It just works, okay? So that you're not taking away time from the enrollment. You want the enrollment to run as smoothly as possible, and you're not taking much time to explain why this disclosure says this and why this disclosure says that, and why they're asking for a premium payment when you said that this is a zero premium. So explain what's going to happen before. I believe strongly in handling objections before they come up, and this is the way to do it.
Okay, awesome, man. Awesome. I got to go back up one. Thanks. Okay, so now you've explained it, and obviously you're going to start with, you're going to, because they've called you and you've already discussed everything with them, you're going to go to the second line here. Again, remember, the blue is what you're going to read. The black italic tells you where to go. It maps you. And the red is where you fill in. So you're going to say, as we move to the enrollment portion of this call, I'd like to remind you that this call is being monitored and recorded for quality assurance. Do I have permission to continue recording? They say yes. Next slide. Okay, so in this scenario where you already spoke to the person, you're going to be doing the first paragraph here. Mrs. Jones, you've called me in order to, now it says transferred to me. In this case, the person wasn't transferred, they called you. You've called me in order to complete the enrollment portion of this call. I will be entering information for it. It is very important that at this point, you do the name of the plan, you say if it's an HMO, you say if it's a PPO, whatever it might be. Because there's only 2 spots in the whole application that you're actually referencing the plan that they're going into. So you say, I will be entering information for the WellCare Liberty D-SNP plan with a premium of $0 through Diversified Health. Do you wish to apply for this plan? They have to say yes. Now, throughout the application, there's going to be a bunch of times where you're asking yes and no questions. You can't get an uh-huh or an You have to get a yes or a no. If you don't get that, you have to stop and just say, Mrs. Jones, I do need to get either a yes or a no from you. So let me re-ask you the question. Do you wish to apply for this plan? Yes, I do. If they say yes, continue to step 2. You're not required to provide health-related information unless this information is needed to determine your eligibility to enroll. If you choose not to provide the requested help, you may not be able to enroll in this plan. Now, will you confirm that you placed this call to Diversified Health? If yes, go to section 4. If no, then you have to read this section. Obviously, they placed the call to you. Diversified Health is a licensed and certified representative of WellCare and may be compensated when enrolling you in the plan. In order to process your telephonic enrollment today, a licensed sales agent must not be present with you. Besides me is another licensed sales agent physically with you or on the phone now. This is a CMS required question, guys. You must ask this question. Next slide. Now, are you completing this application for yourself or on behalf of someone else? You get their answer. If they're doing it for themselves and we are in open enrollment, you're going to go all the way down to step 11. If they're doing it for themselves and we are not in open enrollment, which you're not going to have to worry about until January, you're going to go to step number 9. If it's a power of attorney, then you have to go through step 7 saying, are you authorized to act on behalf? And you have to get their name, and you have to go through step number 8, step number 7, and step number 8. Let's continue for a second as if you were outside open enrollment. So we're going to go to step number 9. All right, go ahead. These are the questions that we were talking about earlier where we said, if you know they're on Medicaid, you don't have to read every question. That was during the sales process. However, during the enrollment process, you have to go through every question until you get a yes. So again, this is only if we're outside of open enrollment. You are going to say, typically you may enroll in a Medicare Advantage plan during the annual election period from October 15th. Please respond with yes or no to any of the questions. By stating that yes, you certify that you are eligible for this enrollment period. So you have to read that whole paragraph. And then you're going to go through all of these questions. Again, only outside of open enrollment. Once you get to, for example, towards the bottom, do you have both Medicare and Medicaid, or do you get extra help paying for it? They say yes, you can stop asking the questions. But you can't stop until after you get to that question. Again, outside of open enrollment. Next slide. This is all part of that 9. And once a special election period is established, you will go to step number 10, saying based on our conversation, you are eligible for and you repeat the plan name again. Your proposed effective date is such and such. Now, during open enrollment, we skipped all of 9 and 10. And I want to point out something I pointed out yesterday. There's going to be a bunch of sections. When you look at the script and see how long it is, oh my gosh, this is so overwhelming. Remember the mapping that we were talking about yesterday. There's going to be a bunch of sections here that you're just going to skip because it's not relevant to what you're doing, and you'll see what I mean by that in a second. So we're in open enrollment. You skip sections 9 and 10, and you are in section 11. Please state your full name as it appears on your red, white, and blue Medicare card. Please state your date of birth. Please state your sex. As you are getting this information, you are capturing it and you are putting it into the application, into the system. May I have your telephone number, alternate number, email address, permanent home address, mailing address, emergency contact. May I have your Medicare number as shown on your red, white, and blue card. Here's the mapping portion. If this is an MA plan, you are going to read the first section. If this was only a PDP plan, which nobody should really be doing because you're calling PDP members anyway, but then you would read this other section. So if it's just an MA or an MAPD plan, you need to be entitled to Medicare Part A and be enrolled in Medicare Part B to enroll in this plan. May I please have the Part A and Part B effective dates as they appear on the card. You then go, now check this out here. If it's an HMO, PPO, or SNP, you're going to go to step 13. If it's a private fee-for-service, again, you're not really doing those. But if you were going to do one, you would go to step 14. So let's go to step number 13 and assume that we are doing a PPO. Remember to read based on what it says in black. If you're enrolling in a health plan with a 0 monthly premium, you're going to do the first paragraph. If you're enrolling in a plan that has a monthly premium, you're going to skip the first paragraph and do just the second paragraph. Again, depending on, follow the black font on this. So you're enrolling with a 0 monthly premium, you're going to say, if we determine you'll owe a late enrollment penalty, excuse me, you're enrolling in, you can pay by mail credit card, you can have deductions from your Social Security, so on and so forth. If it's a 0 monthly premium, if it's a monthly premium, you read the second paragraph. For all plans, you're going to read the third paragraph. People with limited incomes may qualify for extra help, and you have to read the whole thing, everything in blue. And then you get to, please select the premium payment option. This is where Nicole was talking earlier about a coupon book. They were instructed to say coupon book. If they said Social Security, you need to read the next paragraph. If not, you're going to go down. Next slide. If get a coupon book state, and you say you may pay your premium by credit card or by deduction from your bank account. So do you see what I mean when I say a lot of the script you're not reading? You just have to follow the map of where it tells you to go. And it directs you, go to step 16 now. So if you've just read this section, you're not doing the private fee for service. You're skipping section 14. You're going right to step number 16 at this point. So go ahead. Skipping all of this, all the way down to section 16. Do you have end-stage renal disease? If yes, then you have to go through more steps. If no, you're just going to go to step number 17. Some individuals may have other drug coverage, including private insurance. Get their answer. If no, go to step 19. If yes, you have to continue by saying, what is the name of that other coverage? Next slide. What's the ID number for this coverage? You're going to see if they live in a long-term care facility. Now, see what it says here. If no, and this is a PDP only, you're going to go to step 24. If no, and it's an MAPD plan, which again, 99.99999% of the time it's going to be, you're going to go straight down to step 21. If they did live in a long-term care facility, then you have to do step number 20. Let's say they don't. You go to step number 21. Are you enrolled in a state Medicaid program? If yes, what is your Medicaid ID number? If no, you go to do you or your spouse work? For any MA or MAPD plan, you're going to go to step number 23. Would you like to provide me with the name of your primary care physician? Now, at this point, you've already had the conversation with them about their doctor being in network or out of network. You can say to them, if you do not choose a PCP now, the plan may select one for you, but you can change doctors at any time by calling the plan. Please state the name of your PCP. Now, if you've already worked with them on another doctor, you would have already given them that other doctor's name. Are you a current patient? You could say, the PCP you selected is not a part of the plan. Would you like me to help you select another? At that point, you could give them the name of the other primary care physician. But remember, guys, this isn't the first time they're hearing this. You've done all of this through the sales process so that you are literally entering the information as you're saying this out loud to them. Everybody with me so far?
Yes.
Yep.
All right, so you've gone through the doctors. You've done step number 23. Go down to step number 24, please. This was, you've helped them with the doctors. If available, would you like to see plan information in a language other than English? Again, continue, what language do you want? If not, would you like to receive your plan materials in large print? Now, Mrs. Jones, I'd like to review the information we've just collected. And you are going to then read the first name, the middle name, the last name, the date of birth. Next slide. Their gender, the phone number, the address, emergency contact, everything that you just said. And then at the end, you say, is this correct? You do not have to do, is this correct after everything that you're stating. It's at the end of it, is this correct? If not, fix it. If you intentionally provide false information on this application, you will be disenrolled from the plan. Do you certify the information provided in this application is accurate? You have to get a yes information. Now, we need to go through some important plan information. Follow the section here, guys. If it's a WellCare MAPD plan, which most of the time that's what it is, you're going to go all the way down to step number 29. Here is the step 29. If you currently have health coverage from an employer or union, joining a WellCare plan can affect your plan. Read the whole thing. Read the communication your employer or union sends you. If there isn't any information on who to contact, your benefit administrator or the office to answer questions about your coverage can help. Step 30. Okay. This is one of those things where you have to look. If it is an MAPD plan, for any HMO PPO SNP plan, you're going to read the whole first part. By completing this, you agree to the following. It's your responsibility to inform the plan of any prescription drug coverage that you may have or may get in the future. If you were doing just an MA only plan, then you would have to additionally read this one line. Then you continue reading for all MAPD plans. Enrollment in this plan is generally for the entire year. Once you enroll, you may leave this plan or make changes only during the open enrollment plan. Read that whole next paragraph. We serve a specific service area. Oh, wait, go back up. Now, if it's a non-PPO, right there. If it's a non-PPO plan, then you're going to say you understand that beginning on the date WellCare coverage begins. You get all your care from WellCare. If it's a PPO plan, then you read this one. You understand the beginning of the date WellCare provides refunds for all covered benefits. You get services out of network. Then you have to continue reading for all plans. Services authorized by WellCare and other services containing your WellCare evidence of coverage. Next slide. You read all of this, okay? You're going to go down to step number 32 because step 31 is if it was a PDP plan only and you would have already been there. So you're going to skip another page and a half of it down to step page 32. You understand that your verbal signature or the verbal signature of the person authorized to act on this application means you understand the contents. Please state I agree. Now, if you do not get an I agree, you have to say the application cannot continue unless you state that you agree. Do you agree with the statements that I have just read to you? If so, please state I agree. If you are dealing with an authorized representative, then you're going to go down to step 33, which is where they clarify that they're an authorized representative or power of attorney. If it is the actual beneficiary you are speaking to, you're going to continue to step number 34. You've completed an application for, this is the second part. I said to you, you're only going to say the plan name twice. So this is where you say the plan name plus network from WellCare on. Give today's date, give the time. This completes the Medicare Advantage prescription drug portion of your enrollment. Now I'm going to give you the WellCare confirmation code and ask you write it down. Please let me know when you're ready. At this point, you would have hit submit on the application. A confirmation number would have popped up, and you have to give them this confirmation number. Your application is being submitted to WellCare, who will submit it to Medicare for approval. If your enrollment application is approved, blah, 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 you read all of that. This completes your application. Thank you. Now, this is where you can say, Mrs. Jones, if you have any question, you have my phone number. It has been a pleasure speaking to all that other good stuff, the referrals, part of it, whatever it might be. But this is where you're done and the official enrollment portion of it is completed. Let me stop there and say questions.
I have a question about the prescription drug plan. If I'm talking to someone who just has the WellCare prescription plan, and they're looking at, I can write an MA, a Medicare Advantage plan, and leave that same prescription plan in place?
No, you are going to write a Medicare, an MAPD plan. So you are
Okay.
actually going to be replacing their current prescription drug plan with the prescription drug plan that's in the Medicare Advantage.
Okay, so does that plan differ from the plan they have, and am I responsible for pointing out those differences?
Yes, yes. So that's why you still have to look up the drugs. Now, 9 times out of 10, it's going to end up being the same thing. What they're paying right now is going to be what they end up paying. The drugs are going to be covered the way they were 9 times out of 10. There's always specific circumstances, though. Like, for example, they're on a drug that needed an exception. All right, because it wasn't in the formulary, but the doctor required they were on it. That's the type of scenario where it could be different, where we have to say, now, Mrs. Jones, you had an exception before, you're gonna have to get an exception again for it. One of the scenarios where it could be different where is if it's a WellCare Part D plan and you're enrolling them into one of the other carriers, like Allwell or Fidelis. If you're doing that, it's actually a different carrier, even though it's owned by WellCare. So it is changing it is canceling their prescription drug plan and putting them in the Medicare Advantage prescription drug plan. You with me?
Yeah, so when do I write a Medicare Advantage plan only without prescription coverage? I'm
You really
confused
don't.
about that.
You really don't. The only time that happens is if you're dealing with a veteran. A lot of times people have like TRICARE, for example.
Right.
That's a scenario where we might write them on just an MA plan and leave the prescription drug plan alone. Another time is if they have, I don't even know that we've really done this. A person has drug coverage through their employer, and they have it through their employer, but they don't have any health benefits, and they only have a prescription drug plan. That may be an example of where it happens. That's rare, but I can actually give you a personal example there where my father-in-law worked for Pfizer, and they gave him a separate, after retirement, they gave him a separate Part D plan. You know, that was a scenario which was absolutely absurd because they charged him $600 a month for the plan, and I was able to give him the same exact plan for $40 a month. Except that Pfizer drugs weren't free, and they were free, whatever. I'm going off topic, but my point is, it doesn't happen that often.
Okay.
For the most part, we're putting people in MA plans. Nick, can you think of any times that we're really doing MA only plans?
No, not usually. It's usually an MAPD.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions on the scripting itself? Listen, I realize that was a 20-page script or whatever it might be, and I get the fact that it's a little nerve-wracking, if you will, when you look at it. But it's not. You're not using half the script. You can see where you're jumping around. I will tell you, it does not take many enrollments for you to realize where it is that you're going on the script. That's one of the reasons why you really want to print the script out. All right. Any other questions there?
None.
With that said, I am going to turn it over to Dan to do the WellCare Doctor Lookup portion.
Just sorry about that. Just took myself on mute here. Can you guys see the screen right now?
Yes,
And you see the script there?
Yep.
yes.
Okay, cool. Resume slideshow and show. Can you see my WellCare website right on the top page?
Yes.
Okay, great. So just going to take you through what at this point you've learned how to go through enrollment. You've gone through how to do the sales presentation. During the sales presentation, one of the things you came across was doctors. One of the things you came across was drugs. All right? Those are both things that within WellCare system we can look up. Now, the drugs, we use a little bit of a different layout. It's much easier than going through what Jeanette will go through, the Ascend application. We do through two different phone applications that will actually text you, email you the link right in this Zoom chat in 1 second. We'll start with the drugs. What you're going to do is go to wellcare.com. Sorry, we're going to start with doctors. What you're going to do is go to wellcare.com. And when you're on the page, if you noticed, it comes up with which state you're in. So you're going to click in. We're in New Jersey. Just going to use my own home zip code here. New Jersey. And when you're looking up a doctor, right on this upper right corner, it says find a provider or pharmacy. So you can click on that green tab there. And at this point, I kind of pause for a sec, and I go to Google. And in Google, even though they tell me their doctor is XYZ, I never just take them for their name. I always want to find the exact location of them. So I'm going to use my specific doctor. My specific doctor is Agresti, and he's in Nutley, New Jersey. So before I do anything, I always Google it just to make sure I can find the exact address. Sometimes they could say something silly like, yeah, it's spelled A-G-G-R-E-S-T-E-I. That's how you spell Agresti, and you can't find that doctor under that spelling. So I want actually Google to confirm the spelling, confirm the address, give me as much information so that I'm the expert before I go into WellCare system. So then I know it's James Agresti, 181 Franklin Avenue, Nutley, 07110. On WellCare's website, what I want to do is whatever plan I'm going to be presenting, let's call it a Medicaid or an LIS type plan. So we're going to go DSNP. Right, and then enter it up. You can look by city, state, by county and state, zip code, or address. Now, it could be, I could look up by Essex County, 181 Franklin, or zip code, which is what I'm going to do, 07110. And then, how do I want to search it? I can do it a few ways. I can do it keyword and specialty. So for argument's sake, if I'm meeting with an otolaryngologist, ear, nose, and throat, if I'm talking to a gastroenterologist, if I'm looking for a something simple like a dermatologist, whatever it may be, just a keyword specialty. But this specific doctor, I'm looking for an actual name. So I have Agresti there, typed in, correct spelling, because I confirmed it from my Google search. Click on go to results, and it pops up right there. Primary care provider, 181 Franklin. I know I have the right doctor. Provider ID, which I want to write down in my notes, save for later on. Doctors in the network, you're all set. You can continue, go to the next doctor. And I would just do this exactly as you see it for all the different doctors that the client tells you that they see. Sometimes you'll have just one, sometimes you won't have anything that they're tied to, sometimes you'll have 5 or 6. Okay? Now, second thing we always come across here would be your drugs. Obviously, these guys have laundry lists of drugs. What I'm going to do, just for 1 second, I'm going to stop my screen share and open up my chat. I'll give you 2 different links. First link is going to be for people who use Androids, and the second link is going to be those who use Apple. And I'll come back to you on the screen share. For those of you who use whichever platform, just click the link, download that application to your phone. Essentially, this is going to be the platform that you look up all the drugs on. When you're looking up drugs, it's pretty simple. Basically, they tell you the name of the drug. I like to Google it. But you enter it right into the app on that top line there after you download it. You tell it whatever state it's looking in. You know, it's for Medicare, obviously. And then what you're going to do is it tells you exactly what happens. WellCare Corp, it's a preferred drug. It's in the network. You're good to go. And then you just look it up for all the different drugs in the plan. Any questions about doctors? Any questions about drug lookup? Hello?
No.
Okay, great. So third one here is going to be the one that takes a little bit of most work, is finding out when you talk to somebody which is the best plan for them, right? Where do I get all the facts? Where do I get all whatever is it that I'm presenting? Where do I find it? And what you're going to do is just start on the WellCare website. Oh, this one's actually in Spanish, so I'm going to go back. You're going to go to wellcare.com. When you're on wellcare.com, you go right back in New Jersey. And I'm going to go right up on the left corner, need a plan, or I can go on the bottom left corner, need a plan. Either way, I'm going to use this one on the upper left. Click on need a plan. It's going to take you to this blue box page. I am seeking I'm going to look up Medicare plan near, and I'm just going to give you my home zip code, Morristown, New Jersey, 07960. And then I'm going to click search. Fairly simple so far. And in Morris County, there's 3 different plans: Value, Compass, Liberty. You have your LIS plan, your dual SNP plan, and your just regular plan, which really we only write, for the most part, October 15th to December 7th. In this specific case, I'm going to go with the Compass. Now, I actually have this is a different plan. This is for Florida. I'll re-download it. So what you're going to do is you're going to click on, I want to learn more about this plan. When you're on this page, you're going to click Summary of Benefits, Download, English, obviously. And that'll download as a PDF. Now, as Anthony said yesterday, when you go through your presentation, whatever it is that you're presenting, you have to present everything, you know. So for argument's sake, you're going right down the line. Monthly premium 0, deductible. There is no deductible for this plan, Mr. Smith. Now, your maximum out of pocket, your responsibility for anything in network would be $6,700 annually. And if you were to go in or out of the network, because this is a POS, a point of service, it would still remain at the $6,700. Mrs. Smith, if you were going to the doctor and he sends you to she sends you to the hospital and you have to spend the night, for the first 4 days, it'll be a $475 copay per day for the first 4 days, and then the plan will cover the rest through 5 through 9. Now, if you choose to go an out-of-network doctor, it'd be a 40% co-insurance. And for argument's sake, a lot of times when they don't really want to keep you there anymore, right? They want to get you in, they get you out. For an outpatient type hospital coverage visit, it'd be $250 for any non-surgery type service. But if you do have to have some sort of outpatient surgery, it'd be 20% co-insurance. And you're literally doing this the entire way down. Now, obviously in the home, if you guys have some sort of MA experience in the past, you may be tempted, I just want to, probably not, but just going to throw it out there, tempted to kind of skip all these ins and outs. However, when it comes to telephonic with compliance, we have to go through all of the details here. I'm going to stop here, but I think you guys kind of get my drift where you're going through right down that line, telling everything. Doctor visit, $5 PCP copay. If you decide to see somebody out of network because it's a POS, it's a 40% co-insurance. Specialist 30, out of network 40%, etc. That's your doctor lookup. That's your summary of benefits, and that is your drug lookup. Any questions about those 3 things? Okay, cool. Let's just, although this chat for a sec, let me go right back into presentation here. Hang on 1 second. We did doctors, we did the benefit lookup. Actually, next step that we have here is going to be our enrollment platform. Jeanette, are you able to kind of share the screen? Essentially what we did is we use a program called the Ascend website. Everyone has a unique login, and Jeanette, if you take over, you can kind of walk us through where we're putting all this information that we compiled from the client.
Okay, do you want me to do it through the PDF?
Sure,
Share
you
my
got
screen?
it. That's fine. I'm going to stop
Okay.
sharing, and you take over, okay?
Perfect. Can everyone see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, so your login is going to be on this website up here, which will be provided to you. Your username that you are going to use to log in is the email address that was provided to WellCare when you were onboarded. The default password is going to be WellCare with a capital W, 123. Once you log in for the first time, you will be prompted to update your password. Okay. It'll bring you to this next screen, which it'll ask you for the zip code that you are enrolling the member into. You can click continue. If there are multiple counties, it'll ask you for which county they do live in, and you will have to choose which county. And then you would click continue. Then it'll bring you to the blue button from Medicare. But since we are going to enroll the member now, we're going to skip it and say no and enter it manually. You can also skip this and hit option number 5, which is our plans. And it'll bring you to a screen that says, do you need extra financial help? This is where you are able to check eligibility on the member. If you click yes, it'll bring you to this screen where you would need to fill out the first name, last name, date of birth, Medicare number, and either the Medicaid number or Social Security number. It will not let you check the eligibility without either the Medicaid number or the Social Security number. Okay, and then you would click check status. And it will give you the eligibility status information here. And you can just click continue. If there is no eligibility level, then it will give you a screen like this. And you can also click continue. After that, it brings you to which plan you would like to choose. It does give all the plans available in that zip code. So you would just have to see which plan and click apply now. Okay. There is also an option to view the plans. And it gives you the summary of benefits here as well. If you want to go back to the quotes, you can hit this top button that says back to quotes. Or if this is the plan that you choose to go with, you can click apply now. And once you click apply now, it will bring you to this screen where you will fill out the information about the beneficiary. You will fill out the first name, middle initial, last name, gender, date of birth, email address if they give it to you, phone number, and any alternate contact number. If you look down here, it does give you an option to save the application. It also says send for signature, but telesales agents do not use the send for signature. Okay, then you would click next. You're going to fill out the beneficiary's address here. If there is a mailing address that is different than the permanent address, you will have to click this box and fill out the mailing address as well. Then you would click next. And it asks for the person's emergency contact. You would fill in if they do give it to you. Once you start typing in the first box, it will ask for all the boxes to be filled in, and then you would click next. If you do not have an emergency contact, then you can just click next and it'll bring you to the next screen. This is the primary care doctor, and they are asking for you to put in the NPI number. Over here, and then it'll come up with the first name and the last name of the doctor. It also asks if they are a current patient. You are also able to use the provider lookup to find the NPI number if you do not have it as well. And this is what the provider lookup looks like. You want to make sure it's in the right zip code and the radius of where the doctor is. And you would type in the doctor's last name first and then the first name, and it should come up if they're in network. Okay. You are also able to do an advanced search of the doctor. So you would put in the doctor's name, male, female. You would definitely need to pick the specialty of the doctor. And then you have to make sure you put in which plan you are trying to see if they accept. Their location, click search. It will bring you a list of doctors like this. When you find the doctor that you would like to choose, you're going to click add, and then you save and close. And now the information is already in there. And then you would click next. This is where it's asking for the Medicare information. If you do the eligibility check in the beginning, then the Medicare number, the Part A and B effective dates will be automatically filled in. If you do not do the eligibility check, you will have to enter the Medicare number, the hospital Part A and B, and medical Part B effective dates, and you click verify, and it'll verify the Medicare number for you. Then you click next. And this is where it brings you to the special election period, which during open enrollment, we do think there may be a different option. Outside of open enrollment, it does give you the option of I am newly eligible for Medicare, and this is my first entitlement to enrollment. I am newly eligible for Medicare Part D prescription drug coverage. My situation falls under one of the special election period circumstances. If you're outside of open enrollment, you would most likely pick the third option, and it does give you that list of special election periods. But again, during open enrollment, we do believe there will be another option. And you click next. This is where it is asking the health questions. So the ESRD question is here, the long-term care facility question. If they have Medicaid, if they do have Medicaid, you will click yes, and you will have to type in the Medicaid number. It also gives the option for language preference, and if they would like their materials in large print, and then you would click next. Now the next screen comes up with the disclosures that are in our enrollment and the signature of the applicant goes here. It also asks if it is for themselves that they're doing the application for, or if they're the power of attorney or authorized rep. If it's for themselves, you can just click the I am the person listed on this enrollment form. If it's the power of attorney, it will ask you for the power of attorney or authorized rep's information once you choose that option. And then you click next. This is the payment plan. Again, it is automatically put to send me a bill or coupon book, but you do have the other options here, and that's what you would choose. And then you would click next. And this is where you're able to review the application. If there are any errors at any part, then you're able to go to that section and fix whatever you need to fix. If everything is okay, then you can click Apply Now. And it will bring you to this screen where you have the option to email the confirmation number and also print the application. What we would like you to do is print the application and save it as a PDF. So this way you are able to send to Dan and myself. The confirmation number that you will be giving to the member is in bold over here. And then that's the enrollment portion.
Jeanette, I think you covered just about everything except the login. Did I miss you say that, or did you share that part of it?
I did the login. Hold on.
Oh, you did. You talked about how the name has to be in the top corner.
No, I did not do that part.
No worries. I'll cover that right now.
Okay.
You go back to that one slide where you
Hold
first
on.
log in.
Yep.
Oh, perfect. That's perfect.
Right there.
So if you guys notice on the login page, in the upper left corner, it says Deborah. It's actually a little blurry on my screen. They say Deborah Advantage.
Mayorga.
Mayorga. Okay. So if you guys see that there on the
It's up in this area.
yeah, on that top page there, the agent is logged into the page. He or she is ready to take an enrollment because they're logged in. What we have come across is if that page logs you out, just like your mortgage website or your bank account website, wherever you do your banking out, any of those sites like that, after 15 minutes, the timer goes off, it logs you out of the page. The same thing happens here because you're dealing with sensitive information like Medicaid IDs, Medicare numbers, things like that. It gives you a notification that you can click on it, stay logged in. If you don't do so, it will give credit to some other person that isn't you. Unfortunately, we had an agent who wasn't really following along to this, wasn't paying attention, and now we have to go try to convince WellCare to give him credit on 11 different sales. That specific agent name doesn't really matter. However, the point is you have to make sure you're logged in. If your name's not on the upper left corner, you're just kind of working for free. So we just ask you to kind of take notice of that top left corner of making sure your name, your email address, something is there, not nothing. And because of that, this specific agent is getting penalized for 11 sales in the last month. So just wanted to touch that in there. And it will send you a it will give you a notification. So it's not really something you can miss. If you basically are working at the computer, step away for 5 minutes, come back, and you see that thing, you just have to keep logging in before you get back on the phone. Jeanette, I think that's everything.
I think so.
I think so too. I think I'm going to take these slides back. Mike, are you with us, Mike?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, cool. I think we're actually at, she covered procedures. I think we're at the middle leads, actually.
Yep, so I was just going to share my screen. Give me 1 second here.
Okay.
Sorry. Okay, and okay, you guys see the order of operations?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, so obviously we talked about download PDF and then the lead submittal. With the lead submittal, things are kind of changing rapidly because of this new system that we're putting in place. So I'm actually going to be asking that everybody kind of work with us as we get on to the next step with the lead system, because frankly, it doesn't really matter, and so I'm actually hiding the slides that you're going to get involved in. With regard to the actual lead portion of how you work with Google Sheets. But I do want to spend some time with the disposition explanations. Obviously, this will matter no matter what system we're in. We do kind of use these dispositions here. The first is a sale. Obviously, it's a person, you enrolled the person. The second would be not interested. Generally, this is not a final answer. Whenever you say the person's not interested, we do recycle that person back into the system. It's if the person says they might not be interested at this time. That's usually the way that we reference it. Maybe you caught them at a bad time. Maybe they're walking out the door. Maybe they're happy with their plan this month, but next month they might not be. So we don't stop using that lead. We basically put it back into the WellCare system. And if it comes back to us at some point in the future, we actually ignore that they said not interested in the past. Wrong number, obviously, with our marketplace, wrong numbers don't really mean anything. I would say one way that you can avoid using just the disposition wrong number is by not asking for the person when you call them. When you're either working a booked appointment or working off of a lead, we want to see it say, "Hey, Mrs. Jones, it's Mike Rose with Diversified," as opposed to, "May I speak with Mrs. Jones?" If you ask, "May I speak with Mrs. Jones?" pretty much you can assure that there's a wrong number in place, because they're going to say, "Oh, they're not here right now, click." And now you're marking that as wrong number. As opposed to, "Hey, Mrs. Jones, it's Mike Rose with Diversified." Now they kind of are assuming they know you know them. There's kind of a friendlier approach already from the call. And now we've proven this time and time again, the wrong numbers go down when you speak from that perspective. Call back during AEP. This will make the lead available during AEP. However, in our current system, and hopefully this is not the case going forward, but in our current system, we cannot guarantee that just because it said call back during AEP, you're going to get it back. It's our hope that with the new system, we can get that lead back to you. Obviously, all of you will be starting for AEP, so this should not be a concern. Left message. One of the neat things about our new system is that you're going to be able to leave messages with just one click. And we've proven this time and time again that by leaving a message, you're going to have more people call you back. And in the new system, they will call you right back. You'll have an extension right in the system that the system will be intuitive enough to be able to call you directly. No answer, person didn't pick up. Obviously, we do rework those. Disconnected, not in service. NIS means not in service. Important part about this is it might be disconnected today, but tomorrow they paid their bill. We're working in a low-income community. That happens all the time. Callback, this is for the time period that you have the lead, not for after. This is really one of those scenarios where as you're going through the leads, you know that something happened here that you want to go back to this person. You're scheduling to have them call you back, or for it to call back within the time period that you have it for that month. Not qualified means they don't have parts A and B. End-stage renal disease is one of the really only qualifiers for Medicare Advantage up until now. So you'll start to see this go away, but up until now, this has precluded us from being able to enroll a person in a Medicare Advantage plan. Do not call. The person asks you to take me off your list. That's very, very important. We don't play around with those. And if it is a do not call, we ask you to make sure that you mark it properly.
Mike, we're looking at still the PowerPoint order of operations screen instead of the disposition explanation.
Maybe it's locked up because I'm reading it. What do you see now?
We see PowerPoint not in presentation. Now we see nothing.
There?
Nope, nothing there.
I did see you.
Just you.
Sorry about this, guys. I was reading this whole time off of this. Do you see that?
Yeah, there it is.
Sorry. I'm at the end of my slide. I wish you told me sooner.
Sorry.
Doctor not in network. We spoke about this a little bit already. This is how you disposition provider not in WellCare network. But don't just accept that. Make sure you ask it properly and go through it, process it correctly, so that you're not just assuming those doctor not in networks. Language barrier, speaks a language other than English that you can't understand, and deceased members passed away. So that's how we disposition our leads to go through the process. I'm going to pass it back to Dan, but I can move my slide for some reason. Dan, I'm going to ask you to share. Well, I'm just going to wrap this, Dan, my section. I don't know why this is locking up on me the way that it is.
Okay.
My whole screen is locked here. Sorry, guys. How's that? You see it? Is it still there?
Just the participants.
How's that?
Yep. There we go.
Okay. It's important, communication is key with us. We do not have an interest in just having you be just a person in our downline. It's not something that we're working on. It's not something we work towards. We're not interested in just giving you a box of supplies and a pat on the back and kind of off to the races. We want to continue to work with you. It's what we pride ourselves on, that this is a relationship that's continuing to grow. We do that through different ways. One is conference calls. We actually have a conference call starting in about 19 minutes. That call, people will start to hop into this call in a few minutes now, and you'll start to get to a feel for what we do on these calls. We try to address what matters to you on these calls. We don't really focus as much on a planned approach to what the meeting's going to entail, but we kind of let you direct it. So if you have something that you're struggling with, if you have an issue that you need to address, these calls are the opportunity for you to bring them up. We want you to stay in touch with your manager and your coach. We said Nicole is the best at this, and she's listening into your calls. Use her, reach out to her, ask her for some help. Her extension's 834. She can be available to you at all times. Additionally, Akram, Jeff, any of us will be more than happy to be able to help you through any of the challenges that you might be facing. WhatsApp. WhatsApp is a really neat tool for us. We use it to be able to stay in touch with you, to be able to communicate different things that are occurring in the business. If you're not in WhatsApp, I could send you all an individual invite right now, which will allow you to be able to sign up for the application and sign right into our chat. And I'll take care of doing that as soon as I get a moment. And you just use that link to enroll. And finally, follow us on social media. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn. Gabby works really hard to make sure that she's able to put stuff out there that's encouraging, as well as keeping you abreast of any of the opportunities that are out there. Dan, I'm going to let you take the screen because for some reason mine's not working properly. And I'll wrap up my section.
Okay, I think that's actually it. We covered everything here. I think the only thing that I missed was the commission site, and I'm just opening up the PDF again. And that's always the one that everybody wants to know about. Okay, for 1 sec. Essentially, it's open right now. I'm so sorry. Can you guys see that?
Yep.
Excellent, great. So essentially, when it comes to commissions, what we do is we have our own website. You just log into it at any time, the div.com/commissions. All right. Essentially, we give you your login when we get our first piece of business that you wrote issued, and you get paid right after. We follow a pretty simple rule. When we get paid, you get paid. Within pretty much 6 or 7 days, we kind of move the money from us right to you, get you paid as soon as we do. It just goes through our commission system, and it always happens when your first piece of business gets issued. You'll have your unique login as soon as that comes. I think that's the last one, Mike. Key communication. We talked about these yesterday. Anything our agents kind of suggested, tips, tricks, what have you. And then our last one is our client website. One thing we always encourage everybody to do is what we've done is spend a lot of time in 2020 marketing the Rose Boys, and obviously that's the four of us. You see Mike Senior there as well. Jeff Jacob has much to do with that, the Rose Boys, and everything we do as well. But it's basically our little page for any clients that kind of on social media see us on a radio station, Star 99.1 in northern New Jersey and throughout the Northeast. You'll hear our little Rose Boys jingle, and I'm going to just apologize in advance if it gets stuck in your head and you're singing it for the rest of the night. But feel free to go on the site, check it out, and give it a listen, give it a read. And if there's anybody that you kind of come across and you're just kind of talking it through, what we always like to kind of encourage you to do, if someone says, you know, how do I know you are who you say you are, what are you doing, what have you, we always encourage you to just send them to theroseboys.com if it's ever needed, and they can kind of see what other clients, what other agents have said about this entire process, how we've kind of helped them through it all.
So at this point, we just want to open it up to any questions you might have. We realize that there's a lot of stuff that we put out there. So fire away.
Just with introducing yourself on the call as John Milliken from Diversified, I just want to ask you guys about, you know, I have my own company. Am I, again, I can't remember how you answered. I think I asked it yesterday. Am I at liberty to tell the client once I've made the sale that I can be also reached on my cell phone? And
so you're fine with having them call you on your cell phone, okay? But there's a couple of challenges here. First off, from an enrollment perspective, you can't say that you're enrolling someone. This is John Milliken from such and such a company. The reason you have to say from Diversified Health, and the reason for that is we're approved through CMS as Diversified Health to take the enrollment. So that's why you have to utilize that Diversified Health. It's just from a compliance perspective. On your introduction, the actual introduction of the script is actually, it doesn't even say Diversified Health. It says I'm calling on behalf of WellCare, your current Part D prescription provider.
Right.
You really want to do that to learn, to let them, to build that credibility. That's the word I'm looking for, to build that credibility. So you just want to, Mike's just doing that because it's the same phone number. So there's going to be people that pop into this call. That's why you're seeing it.
Right.
That's your introduction. Now, as far as them calling you back, let me tell you the downside to you not utilizing your extension. We've had plenty of times where there was some sort of compliance question that came up of, I called this agent 4 times and he did not return my phone call. Well, we go into our log and we show that this person did not call 4 times. This person called 1 time and it was 20 minutes ago. So that's one example. Another example, one of the agents had a problem where the client called him and said to him, I've just been diagnosed with cancer and I need to go see this doctor, and this doctor does not accept WellCare. And he said, you know, Mrs. Jones, at the time we did your enrollment, you were not diagnosed with cancer, and this was not one of the doctors we went over. She said, I understand. She went back, she called WellCare, she puts a complaint into WellCare that the agent told her that her doctor was in network. This oncologist that she's seeing told her that the doctor was in network. And because of that, she wants to file a complaint against him and cancel. Well, compliance comes back to us. Fortunately, that phone call happened on our phone line. We were able to take the recording of that follow-up phone call where she told him, I've just been diagnosed with cancer. And he explains that wasn't one of the doctors. And she says, I understand. Complaint went away because we had that recording. Because now they know that she's lying. So there's a lot of safety mechanisms in there on why you really want to utilize that phone system.
Right. Yeah. If I definitely, I'm more inclined not to even mention my cell phone number or my personal email, in case they are going, to the website to check, out, that we're valid and all
Right.
that kind of stuff. I want to
Right.
be able to give them all the information on Diversified, including, here's my extension at Diversified should you need to reach me.
Right.
And so good. Okay. I just wanted to confirm that again.
No,
Thank you.
great question. Great question. What else? What other questions? Dennis, you good?
I'm good. I'm just
Mallory,
digesting.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I'm digesting.
It's a lot to digest, but I promise you guys, it doesn't take a lot of enrollments before all of a sudden it becomes so much easier. It literally, after a couple of enrollments, you say, okay, now I get this path. I get this map that I have to follow as far as this scripting goes. You get it. It's so much digest, but you really do pick up on it quickly. And you can even hear that from some of the people that are on the call this evening. Mallory, are you good? Or you have any questions?
I'm good. I think a lot of my questions will come once I start doing run-throughs on the Thursday night calls and stuff. Seth is going to do a role play, so we'll kind of go through that, and maybe I'll have questions after that. But same kind of thing, digesting. It is a lot.
Yep, definitely. One of the other things is, Mallory, you weren't on yesterday's call, right?
No, so I had signed up for the previous week, but I had a personal reason and I couldn't make your second day.
Okay.
So I didn't want to miss this part.
Got it. You already have the outbound script. You got that from the website.
I have them right in front of me, yeah.
Awesome, excellent.
So what do you guys find is the average, once you're in the flow and you've got the script down pretty good, what's the average time that you generally spend with someone on the other end?
Once you have everything down from soup to nuts, I'm going to say it's fair to say you're looking at an hour and 20 minutes.
Do you find, that's a long time, for anyone to, keep their attention level. So I guess you find that you're able by sort of like, as you said yesterday, sort of teasing and then taking it away and keeping their interest.
You had that first phone call, the sales phone call, which was the conversation, right? That's where you're finding out if they're qualified. That's where you're learning about what's important to them. You're checking the doctors, everything like that. So they're very engaged during that. And it's very much a conversation in the beginning.
Right.
Let's say that goes from anywhere from 45 minutes. 45 minutes is probably closer to that, as far as the call goes. Once you get better with the enrollment portion of it, the enrollment portion you should be able to get done in 20 minutes. Okay. I would rather give you a higher number and let you come in less than it. But let's say it's 20 minutes. Keep in mind that you're having them call you back. So there's a little break in there, whether they're hitting the restroom or whatever, but they're looking at it as we're in the home stretch now. Now we just have to do the enrollment. So they're looking at it as it is two separate things. With that said, there are plenty of people that don't necessarily do the sale and the sales presentation on the same day. And that is because there's people that say, I want to do this, I want to enroll, but I can't do it anymore today. And they set an appointment for the next day and they do it the next day. It's not the most ideal thing because when you have the fish on the hook, you want to pull them into the boat. With that said, there's plenty of people, and you'll hear them on the call this evening, that'll tell you, this is what I did. So it does happen where it's a two-call close.
Right. Okay. Thanks.
Okay.
And also, Anthony, I want to add the agent's control is very important when it comes to timing. If you don't have complete control, it can take a lot longer than what's supposed to.
Right. Good call. Didn't even think of that. You cannot lose control. You cannot lose control, and you will hear. You've developed a relationship with this person. You've made a friend with them, but you will find out, what size pajamas their 8-year-old grandson wears and what he does before bed, if you don't keep control. So I'm not saying not to listen to that. I'm not saying not to reference the grandson and granddaughter, but you just need to make sure that you get back on track. We have had agents who have said that they spent 2 hours on a call with someone, 2.5 hours on a call with someone, and didn't enroll them. And that just puts a knot in my stomach when I hear that. To invest that kind of time without even closing them. So keep control. Good one, Ackerman. Anything else? All right. If nobody has anything else, we're just going to kind of pause there for about 5 minutes. Our training call is going to begin right at 6:30ish. So we're going to just kind of pause there for the next 5 minutes, and we'll get started again with our training call.
We'll be on the same Zoom call?
Yep, you don't even have to hang up. You don't even have to hang up. I'm literally going to shut my camera off and mute and run out for 2 minutes and run back in. So let's do that. Talk to everybody in 5 minutes.
Okay, thanks.
All right, guys.
Hey everybody, it's Jamie.
Hey Jim, how you doing, buddy? We're just we just finished up one of our training calls, and everybody was just breaking away. We're coming right back just to start up for our 6:30 call in 2 minutes.
Okay, you got it. Thank you.
No problem, bud.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Hello.
Good evening. Hello.
How's everyone doing today?
Fabulous.
Fabulous. Well, that's great to hear.
Absolutely outstanding. Gregorious. Lively.
Wow. Glorious. You're,
You know, I'm lying through my teeth, right?
you know, if we had more time, we'd ask you to spell that, but we don't have enough time to.
Well, those of us who already know how to spell it don't need it for those who don't.
Oh, okay. Okay. I feel like I got to pay you for that word.
I got to pay for it too because I'm hoping to feel like that. I'm faking it until I make it.
That's it. That's it. So we got we have a bunch of newer people on the call tonight that just finished up our training school that we completed literally 5 minutes ago. So they just kind of stayed on the call so that we can have our weekly call. I know there is a bunch of people that will not be on this evening's call today. I saw some text earlier for that. So there is a few things that we want to share with you and kind of talk a little bit about. But before we go there, let's jump right into it, and let's jump into it with Mr. Fenn. How are you, sir?
Why am I always the first to go?
Because we are so excited to hear what is happening in your world that we always like to jump into it with you first. That's the first reason. The second reason is we know that you have an attention span that is extremely short. So if we don't grab you in the beginning, then we're going to lose you towards the end.
What are you talking about? I'm always on it. It's crazy.
Aren't you glad you asked that?
What's that?
I said, aren't you glad you asked?
I know.
Why,
I just shut
why
my mouth.
always go first?
Yeah, right. Next time, I'm just gonna keep my mouth shut. But yeah, no, just trying to it's a mad race right now. Get everything ready, for the big game. So just making my list. I got right now. I have like 10 or 11 people from between Tennessee, New Hampshire, and New Jersey that are going to be enrolling in open enrollment that I'm going to fit in, and just trying to get as much done as I can, or as much clients on tap for open enrollment that I could fill in those first couple of weeks. And I added a couple today, and also had a sale today, and I have one that I'll be following up for Tennessee. I'll be closing tomorrow morning as well from today's calls. And then I also called in my clients from before to place over-the-counter orders, stuff like that, follow up from last month. I really want to kind of get on top of that and before we get too busy and check in with them. And so I was doing that as well. And, that's it. I mean, for the regular stuff.
Okay. So, Seth, I want to, a question came up in the training school about, number one, how long is a call was the question. And then we started getting into a little bit of a conversation of, it gets a little bit long. If you're looking at an hour and 20 minutes, sometimes it could be a little long for somebody. And you're one of the people that happens to always fill your pipeline and set up a sale for the next day or whatever it might be. So I guess my question is twofold. First question is, how long would you say your whole thing from start to finish is?
So it's I have it down to let's start on the back end first. So the last call, the inbound call, is always 22 minutes and about 30 seconds, depending on unless they ask a lot of questions or they can't really wrap their head around things. It's on literally 23 minutes every time. And I take about 15 minutes before that or to prep everything and send, double check everything with the state, get my everything in order. The call, but in the middle time between the inbound call and the outbound sales call. And the sales call is about 30 minutes, give or take, depending on, so it's usually about an hour total or just over, 25 to 30 minutes on the sales call. Sometimes it depends. If you got to build that rapport, it takes a little longer. Sometimes these people are long-winded. They want to chat with somebody and whatever. And but it takes about a minute. I mean, a minute. I wish. It takes about an hour and 5 minutes. I mean, and as people will kind of get through this and start, getting comfortable, they'll see it. So that's important. That gives me enough time to prep for the next call and not miss anything. Does that make sense? Was that what you're asking?
Absolutely. Now I want to go to so John, that like he's saying it's about an hour, a little over an hour. I said to you, under promise, over deliver. But the key there is also what he said is sometimes people can be a little bit more long-winded as far as their questions and whatnot go. But you also said 15 minutes in between for prepping.
Yeah.
What did you mean by that? How are you ending the call with the person that you have 15 minutes?
No, say if a lot of them, obviously my calls are in Maine, and I work with the prescription assistance line. They know, like me, like Jeopardy, on a first name basis. And it takes 2 seconds to verify their stuff over the phone, and sometimes if it depends what we're calling, but if I'm giving you the numbers if I call in Maine,
right?
I get their Medicare and Medicare information verified through Maine. I just need their date of birth. I don't need anything else, and they know me on a first name basis. So I'm very lucky in Maine. So because sometimes you get pushback when you ask for those things.
Sure.
And so by doing that when I am in Maine, that's one thing I do when I'm off the phone. I also get the Ascend app up. I have all the information in front of me. I get it. The Ascend app is amazing as far as it and how quickly you can prep everything, put everything in there. It's it verifies the Medicare info real quick, and so I get that already ready to go. And especially with the new guys, I think that would be important because trying to type and talk at the same time or read at the same time is very hard. And so as long as if you put it in right before you get back on the inbound call, it'll stay on that screen for the that call, and then when you're at the end, you just hit send.
Okay. Tell me about Ascend app. Is there still a need for you to call main care when you're using the Ascend app?
If you have yeah, you can use the app if you have the number. If you don't, though, sometimes these people are not organized, as you know, or they're like I got a guy today, didn't know where his wallet was, and so that happened, and so it was faster for me just to call and get it verified, and then it also adds credibility, and that this is actually something I was going to bring up on the call today, was has SPOP done anything, or do we have any other resource if these people don't have their Medicare ID or MDI number, or is there any sway or changes?
No.
Yeah. Okay.
No,
so that's okay. I was just curious about that, but yeah. So that's why I do that.
Okay. Tell me.
And one last thing. Also, I think too, that, the important part. I want to be on point with the call, and my total focus in that call back, and making them feel comfortable, not make it sound like I'm a robot, and make them feel like they're going to be getting something great. Congratulations, blah blah blah, this, whatever. And so I don't want to fuss around or make mistakes. So that 15 minutes to kind of reset my deck of cards, get my screen up, get everything prepped, have my script right in front of me, highlighted, ready to go. I just have to read, and then and it just makes it easier, makes it smoother. Because anytime if you get messed up, I think my first call was 45 minutes, my first inbound call. it goes into your next appointment, and then your whole day's screwed up. So I'm taking that extra 5 or 10 minutes, which isn't a long time, to get things in order is worth it.
Okay. I just want to hit real quick. You mentioned like you have one for tomorrow, for example. You know, team up and set up to do the enrollment. What happens in the scenarios where you tend to do that a lot, where you have people set up for the following day? And not every, obviously the most ideal thing is being able to close somebody the first time you speak to them.
Right.
You tend to do it a lot. How does that happen? How do you get to that
point to close them tomorrow?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, I think, it's funny. I think like when you're in person, you pick up different signs visually. So on the phone, you pick up different way they sound, their comfort level, and their voice, that you got them, that they're comfortable and they want it, and they're willing to do it the next day. So I think, this person I was talking to, the need was definitely there. We already went over when I hit a certain part of the sales script, when they're wanting the over-the-counter catalog, we've already discussed helping her the order over the phone. They know they need it, and then I already know that I didn't have any appointments for tomorrow scheduled, so it made sense for me to, and I wanted to do. It's in Tennessee, so I wanted to do some due diligence on the plan itself as well, and also check a few things before I come back with her on the phone, because I haven't sold a ton in Tennessee either. So I wanted to make sure this was a home run, and I didn't make any mistakes or anything like that. So that was the other piece too. But you got to build. It's all about that rapport, right? If they're just like they don't want it and they don't trust you, then they're not gonna,
Sure.
Whatever.
Sure. Okay. Okay, great. All right. Thanks, Seth.
And before you go off with Seth, I want to overstate the obvious also in what Seth is saying. That's he's gotten to that point where he knows that it's 22 minutes and 37 seconds for the inbound call. He knows the exact time. He didn't start off there. Okay. It's being prepared beforehand, especially during this couple of weeks that we have coming up, to get yourself ready so that you are proficient at what you're talking about, because you're not going to, if you're just getting started with it, you're not going to do it in 22 minutes and 37 seconds. That's going to come naturally the more proficient you get at knowing your product and knowing exactly what it is that you're doing and being comfortable with the calls that you're actually making. So don't expect that in your first week or two that's going to be the time period. You're going to need to leave a little bit more time in between there so that you're not rushing trying to meet the time frame that Seth just said. Seth is doing it in 22 minutes or 23 minutes total. Don't expect that in the beginning, because if you're going to be disappointed. All right, leave a little bit more time so that you can prep for it, especially during these next couple of weeks that are coming up. So you can get to a point so that your comfort level is there, so that it'll go smoother. And each time you do it, it's going to get smoother and smoother and smoother with your comfort level. So like I said, I just wanted to overstate the obvious there.
Right.
That actually, I ducktail off that too. That makes a lot of sense. And I told like TJ and Josh Crew, and I've talked about this I think before, but the first three, I remember when we first started doing the phone, I was like, and I talked to you, I'm not doing this. I don't want to do this. And the first three sales were brutal. I mean, I was second guessing myself the entire time, and thinking, what the hell am I doing? And and I know Dan listening into the headphones must have been shaking his head. And but after the third one, everything just clicked.
Well, we still do that with your calls, though.
Yeah, I understand. The third one, I felt like, oh, I get it. And then everything after that was just easy. It might not have been like 23 minutes on the dot, but you chip away, and by next thing you know, you're a couple weeks in, and it's like a cakewalk at that point.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Awesome. Seth,
I think it's absolutely awesome. I just want everybody. It would be unfair to kind of just assume anybody new that's still learning this to think that the first few calls, maybe even weeks enrollments, you're going to get down to a 23-minute call and assume that everything was done correctly right off the bat. This is something that Seth has been working on for 6 months to get to this point. Now, I think it's amazing to say that it would be a 40-minute everything beginning to end, just like in a home. However, off the bat, please assume it's not going to be a 23-minute first call and then 15, 18-minute second call. It's going to be something that is gradually developed.
You got to get there.
Yeah. It's not going to happen off the bat. And there's a lot of new people on this call that may think that off the bat, and this is just, there's too much at stake compliant-wise to think that that's going to happen on October 1st for you to be at 23 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
Everyone has the ability to be the superstar that Seth has. However, it's a developed trait. It's not going to happen right off the bat.
And you're right, Dan, too. Like, it's really, it's repetitions, the more you do
practice. It's called practice, guys. That's why every team practices.
Yeah.
They don't just show up on Sunday for the game. They practice all week long before they get there. They prepare for it.
Exactly.
I'm gonna scoot over to Jamie. Jamie, how are you doing?
Hey, how you doing? I'm doing good. I've been calling New Jersey, my people here in New Jersey for the last bunch of days. So I'm depressed and I feel like jumping off a bridge right now. But other than that, I'm okay.
Well, what do you mean you feel like jumping off a bridge?
No, I don't mean that literally. That was a joke that didn't land too well.
We didn't want to turn this phone call into an intervention.
Yeah. Well, you may have to. It depends. But no. But seriously, New Jersey is a tough crowd. Like I've been warned about it, and I was expecting it. But a lot of the people I'm calling are not home, or I get into a flow with them, and I realize that they might be eligible, and they might even have Medicaid, a couple of them, but they're happy with what they have. They don't want anything, and so it's been a little frustrating in the last couple of days. But I'm out there. I'm making the calls that I've scheduled to make, and I'm going forward.
Let's talk a little bit about the ones who may have Medicare and Medicaid only, and they're happy.
Well, I've had a couple of those. That's not the common thing, but so like we've talked about before, some of them, the state, as you told me once, and I've come to realize, issues some kind of HMO to them, and today the example was a Blue Cross Blue Shield. The only thing that this woman didn't have was denture coverage. And I tried to go through some of the benefits of the DSNP plan that I thought she was going to be eligible for, and she said, "You can't give me anything I don't already have." I said, "Well, we just talked about the dental. Didn't you want the dentures? Because it doesn't seem like you're getting that now." And I was probably on the phone with her for 15 minutes, maybe a little bit longer. And as I was trying to just reiterate that she is getting more in this DSNP plan than what she has now with just state Medicaid, she hung up. Okay. So I didn't have a chance to finish the call with her.
Okay. How far?
That's the kind of thing I've been running into.
How far into the call were you before where she basically just hung up on you?
I was getting ready to check her eligibility by getting her MBI, and right as I'm asking for that, she said, "Well, I don't really think you're," and she had a heavy accent, some kind of Eastern European accent. Mm-hmm. But just as I was getting to that point, she said, "I don't think that you're, going to be able to give me anything." We didn't get to the point where we talked about her doctors. We didn't get to the point where let's look up your meds. I had listed a bunch of the benefits. I went down the summary of benefits a little bit. I tried to talk to her about the over-the-counter. You know, talked about zero co-share all the way down, gave her examples.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't impressed. She has that now.
Sounds to me, now I didn't hear the call. It sounds to me like a few things happened. Number one, you definitely didn't follow the 10 steps. You absolutely went out of order. I mean, if you were at the point where you were getting ready to go to SPOP and you didn't talk about doctors and you didn't talk about drugs and all that other stuff, you definitely didn't follow the steps in order. That's the first thing. Second thing is, sounds like to me, you were selling hard. Sounds like you were the greatest salesperson I've ever heard in my life. Just rolling off all these different benefits that she could possibly have. And you have absolutely no idea what was important to her.
No, I did.
And
I identified that early on, and so I talked to her about the dental as well early on. That's what I found.
This is what happened, Jamie. No doubt in my mind, just based on what you said. She was doubting if there was anything you can do, and as soon as you asked her for that Medicare ID, she said, "I'm not giving my Medicare ID out to this person. I don't see the value in giving my Medicare ID out to this person."
Didn't find the hot button.
And that's why she got scared. She got scared at you asking for that Medicare ID because you said it was right before you were going to call SPOP. So she probably got real scared there. So let's step back for a second and let me go over to Akram for a second, who is very accustomed to Jersey. Akram, how do you handle a person who's on Medicaid and it's, well, I got everything already now? I mean, and by the way, Jamie, this is not an uncommon objection. I know it only happens to you a few times.
We're not just talking to you, Jamie. We're not just talking to you. That's the bottom line. We're not just talking to you. Very common here.
Akram, let me come over to you and say, talk to me about New Jersey and people that are on Medicaid and why what we can offer them is better.
Okay. First of all, a lot of people that have Medicaid don't know there is any better than what they have, and that's one of the reasons why the teasers in the beginning is very important, just to bring up things that they sometimes never heard of, like over-the-counter supplies, transportation. A lot of good benefits that they're not aware of. Now, a lot of people are going to tell you, okay, I'm good, I'm covered, I have Medicare and Medicaid. But a lot of times that's not good enough. And again, they're saying this because they don't know any better. And our job is just to present the additional benefits that they may have even before we find out if they are on Medicare or Medicaid or whatever. All right. So we usually use our sales ability to find out in the beginning what they're missing on their coverage, what they're like what they like and what they don't like about what they already have right now. A lot of people, even if they have Medicare and Medicaid, but they still going to tell you, okay, but I'm not getting this and that. And you find out, you listen to them. By listening to them, you're going to find things that you may find that is going to be appealing to them. So once we find out what where to go with this case, you just try to make your plan looks good to them, like they don't have over-the-counter supplies. Even if they have over-the-counter supplies, they may not have a good amount. They don't have meals that they can get when they go back from the hospital. They don't have transportation, or if they have transportation, they have very limited transportation. And if they have, they may have transportation, but they're not happy with the transportation company that's taking care of them. They may have dental care, but they don't have the dental benefits that they're looking for, or it's not good enough for them. So listening is very important part for the people that have Medicare and Medicaid. And personally, regardless of what state that I'm working in, and obviously New Jersey is one of the biggest states that I have been working in, the people love the fact that they're not losing anything but gaining by getting the plan. And that's how we present it ourselves. They're not losing anything, they're just gaining. By getting this, they're gonna get more benefits on the top of what they already have.
Mm-hmm.
And if you present it that way, like you don't want to present it the way that like we were saying over the training class in the last couple of days, you don't want to do it like the way that some people do, ask for the Medicare ID. No, you presenting a good thing to them. You're presenting a good plan. You presenting additional benefit to them. It's not like you have one step in and one step out because you feel like you probably are not going to do any good for them. Well, if you're not going to do any good, I personally walked away from a lot of cases that people probably the plan is not good for them because the biggest example of this is the people that have sometimes a Medicare supplement, and they have a lot of major health conditions that is not fair to them to take that away from them and just give them Medicare Advantage plan. Did I write a lot of Medicare supplement? Yes. Like people that have Medicare supplement and switch to Medicare Advantage, yes. But I guess my point is, you may walk away from some cases, but in general, and the common situation is, the plan is good for the people that have a dual Medicare and Medicaid because you're going to give them a lot more benefits. As long as the doctors are in the network and the medication are in the formulary, you're in a good shape. You have to believe in this. If you believe in it yourself, you're going to present it and you're going to close it. But if you have some doubt that they're going to lose what they have and you're not doing any good for them, you're shooting yourself in the foot because you're helping them to say no. You are the one that's saying no, not them.
If I can add something here, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I just want to add something going back to the initial call, where the person said, I'm sorry, I don't know if you got, where the person said that they were interested in dentures. Okay, so when someone says, "Oh, I'm interested in dentures," that please, please, please don't jump the gun and think it's a lay down. You still cannot skip the steps in the sales process. You have to create the need. The client cannot create their own need. All right. So just going back to that initial thing where, okay, yes, they said they wanted dentures. There's going to be some people that says, I want money to buy eyeglasses. They're going to tell you what they need.
Yeah.
However, you still need to create a need. You cannot skip that step and think that it's a lay down. First and foremost, they need to trust you. You need to build some type of relationship there. Okay, especially in New Jersey. New Jersey, yes, New Jersey is a tough crowd. However, your job as a senior advocate, your job as a senior specialist is to educate them on what they do not have with Medicaid. When was the last time you had dentures? When was the last time Medicaid allowed you to get dentures? With this plan, you're going to get this amount and it can be used towards your dentures. You don't
Oh, we just lost Nicole. Nick, you still there?
I think her dog ate her.
It's important to note, Jamie.
Thanks.
Oh, there she is. She's back.
I'm sorry. In New Jersey, they're going to tell you that they're getting a lot of things. They are not getting dentures anytime they want. Medicaid puts a cap on that. I believe it's like every 5 years they can get that. Mm-hmm. Okay. With this plan, they're going to get money that they can put towards dentures. I know for certain that Medicaid is going to give them a certain pair of glasses, and it's not going to be the ones that they want. However, this plan will give them $100 towards the glasses that they want. How about that? Okay. So just because they're telling you, oh yeah, I want this, that does not mean you're going to skip the step in creating a need. Okay, you're not going to skip the step in building some type of friendship and building some type of trust where that Medicaid ID is not a problem to give to you. Right?
No, I mean, most of the time it's not, but you do have, you know, occasionally, even when you think you've built that trust, you do have some people that are not going to want to give it out. There was actually the second person that today, she was the second one that didn't want to give me the MBI number. And, you know,
how are you asking for it, Jamie?
Oh, I build the relationship. I'm building trust. I'm doing everything that you're talking about. And this is not you know, I'm not griping. I'm not complaining.
No, this isn't just for you, man. This is not just for you. This is
no, but what I'm
valuable.
saying is that this isn't a common occurrence. It's not. It's very rare that somebody that I haven't established some kind of rapport and trust between the person I'm speaking to the point where they just won't give me the MBI. And that you're going to come across that sometimes, but, and I made it clear, you know, like, you know, I want to be able to, you know, move forward in the conversation with you, with the earlier one today. And I went, and even after that, after the resistance, I went on, I talked about the plan. I discovered what her needs are. I created some urgency. You're going to run across some people that are just not going to play ball every once in a while. And that's, you just have to, you know, try to learn from it. If you could have done something, you know, differently, and then move on and then shrug it off and get to the next one.
That's right.
That's definitely understandable. And you made a great point. It does happen sometimes. Okay, it does. And I listen to a lot of phone calls. I listen to different people all day. Okay. And it definitely, it has a lot to do with how you're asking for that MBI number. Mm-hmm. So that's the only reason. It's not to attack you. I just wanted to hear, you know, like, give me an example of how you're asking for it. And maybe we can find another way of how to ask for it, or give you another option on how you're asking for it. And not only you, but everyone else that's on this call that's encountering that.
Sure. Yeah. You know, each conversation's a little different when you're having that dialogue, but most of the time I try to make it seamless, and it's after we've established a rapport with each other. But when I'm asking for their private information, I most of the time just say, in order to get the eligibility, you know, I just need this information. If I get any pushback at all, I say to them that this is actually for your protection, mostly, that you provide that with me. And then, you know, if I get even more pushback, I try to explain that the information, you know, it's not, you know, financial information. It's just, you know, it's not social security numbers, and, you know, and so on and so forth. 99% of the time, even if I have to do that, it works. So I was just giving some anecdotal frustration for what happened to happen recently, but it's not a normal problem for me, and I don't want anybody that's new on here to think that this is something that you're going to run up against, because it usually is not.
Okay. What do you have anything in the pipeline right now?
Yeah, I've got a lot of people to call on during the AEP.
Okay.
A lot of people, and there are other people that I just couldn't connect with that weren't home, left messages. So I have plenty of people to call back, but I have specifically people that want to hear from me during the AEP. I have a whole list of them.
Okay. We're gonna go there. We're gonna go there in a minute to talk about what we're gonna do starting October 1st.
Okay.
Yeah, can I ask a quick question, Jamie? When you said you have a whole list of it, roughly how many are you talking about here?
Well, I only make 5 calls a day, so keep that in mind because they're scheduled calls. But I probably have 40, 30, 40.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, that's not bad.
Yeah.
I'm gonna. I want to scoot over to Denny. I'm not sure if Denny actually started making some phone calls or. How you doing, Denny?
I'm well, thank you. Yeah, well, after 2 years kind of a hiatus in the insurance business, I've decided to leave my job and I'm jumping right in. So, actually, I've had some technical issues with my phones and then getting all the exams done and all that stuff, but I'm on track now. We just started making calls. Actually, Monday was yesterday was really the first day I've made some calls, so about 70 so far. A lot of, I think what everybody else gets, probably a lot of like voicemails, a lot of, no answers and things like that. But I had scheduled, I had 4 appointments scheduled out of those calls, so that wasn't too bad in one day. One was one call, the gentleman, his doctor these were all Tennessee. So I tried, his doctor's just not in network. So I tried everything, called in, tried like 5 calls, even the physician's office to see if, if it was not recorded or whatever. And his doctor's just not in the system.
All right. So let me ask you a question. What are you doing with those? How are you ending? If you're finding the doctor's not in network right now, how are you ending that call?
I'm ending that call by saying that, because I obviously had the guy's confidence. I had, I had him all ready to go. And I just ended the call saying that, if I'd be glad to help you going further forward if I can, if we can, locate a doctor that would work for you, or if you would consider changing doctors, you would get all these additional benefits by doing that. But currently, they're not, it's not network. And if something changes, then I would call you back.
So this is what I need you to start doing immediately for anyone whose doctor is not in network. I need you to say, Mrs. Jones, Mr. Jones, whatever it might be, benefits change every single year, and there's always new options that may be available to you. What I would like to do is give you a call back the first week of October so that I can discuss some other options with you. Let them say okay so that you have a recorded permission to contact. The reason I'm saying this is you can't discuss the PPO options that are going to be available starting next week until next week. But the fact that the doctors are out of network doesn't mean that you're not going to be able to put them in one of these new PPO plans. Some of them have the same benefits in and out of network.
Yep. So cool. Okay. Yep. Great.
You got to make sure that you got that permission to contact, and those people need to be part of the list of people that you're going to call back.
That's great. Thank you.
And I'm sorry, I just have to take it one step further too, because at the end of the day, there may be some, not definitely, but there may be something missed in the sales process there, because the person, until you really find out more about that doctor, that person, that client may have a need for a new doctor, but yet you didn't ask the right questions. And I'm going to just encourage Nick to kind of jump on and kind of talk about that for a second. It's something that she kind of ran with one of our in-house people who's severely been struggling with that over the last couple of weeks. And we talked about it at length, literally just last week. And Nick, that's going to be, just so you know, that's going to be one of your little training videos that you make tomorrow. But if you can kind of come on mute and just kind of talk about how you would develop the need to present the opportunity for the client to change doctors.
Okay.
And that's really the key. Present the opportunity for the client to change doctors. Go ahead, Nick.
Right. So basically what I do, or what I train people to do is just, you know, be the expert, ask the questions. Okay. Some people they're only seeing this doctor once a year. Okay. How often are you seeing the doctor? Right. Is it easy to get an appointment in your doctor's office? There's a lot of people that are dual eligible. They're going to a clinic, and quite frankly, they're seeing whatever doctor is available at that clinic. So changing a doctor it shouldn't be that big of a deal if you're going to ask the right questions, of course. Okay. So again, just to I'm not sure if you guys can hear me.
We can hear you fine.
Okay, great. So just to reiterate, you want to be the expert. You want to ask the right questions. Like I said, some people are going to the doctor maybe once a year. Some people haven't even seen the doctor. Some people have had bad experiences with their doctor, but you need to ask the right questions to find out what their need is with the doctor or specialist that they're seeing.
For plan, if the client is so attached to the benefits that you're presenting, you found the hot button for this client. You know exactly what it is that's going to make them buy, and you're coming across one little challenge if the doctor is not in network, and you've made those benefits such a strong offer. There's an opportunity for you to move that client to a different doctor in a network that we have where we have thousands of doctors. And we only work with the highest rated doctors, Mr. Smith. And then there's a little test close there. If we could find a doctor that's, let's say it's too far, if that's a little closer to your neighborhood, if we could find a doctor for you that can get you in at a sooner time period than what you were originally looking for, if we could find a male for you because you're sick of going to a female, or vice versa, if you're asking that right question, we can change the doctor. That is not a hindrance. That is actually a blessing. Because if we're finding their problem, we can give them the correct solution.
Can I add that, Dan?
A lot of people going, yeah, absolutely. Give me one quick second. A lot of people
go for it.
AAP will say the doctor is the challenge. And even though we have the PPO as the first answer, it doesn't have to be, provided you truly understand the challenge of, one, their need, what is the deal with the doctor, and two, you understand their need of the benefits too. Then it comes to the solution. Until you get uncomfortable, you will constantly hear the doctor doesn't work, I can't do anything. When you get uncomfortable, you will start asking a different question, and you'll be able to flip somebody to a new doctor that is a better fit for that client with all the other benefits. Sorry, Seth, go ahead, bud.
Don't apologize. No, I mean, that's it's a point to sell yourself. This week, you learn something new every day. I had two people that there was issues with their doctors, and WellCare called one and Humana called another client, and they were happy to switch doctors for their plan. I would have never expected that with these two people this week. And then I had a couple on the phone that were happy to switch this week, two gentlemen, and and I wasn't expecting it. But one of the things I use is it's an opportunity to be like, look, I always reiterate this because it's more touches with the client, but I'm your healthcare guy, so I don't care what it is. If you're looking for a new doctor, you need to see a specialist, you want to get dentures, hearing aids, I don't care. I want you to call me first, because I have a database in my computer. I can literally pull them up and see who is the closest doctor to you that has good ratings. And I don't know, Dan, you can probably correct me if I'm wrong, but healthgrades.com, and there's a bunch of other websites that have ratings on doctors too as well. And I don't know if we can utilize that, but I think
that's a great, Seth, I think that's great. Honestly, it comes down to the problem that you've created with their existing doctor. Now, some cases you may not find one, and that is totally fine. We don't want to do anything dishonest. If their doctor is the right doctor for them, great. But if they said something wrong and you found a need, well, then there's other ways for you to create more problems to tailor a solution there. So Health Grades is a great fit.
Yeah, and I'll say, look, I found this doctor. It has 5-star rated. It has a bunch of reviews. They're taking clients with WellCare, and so and then I talk about that. Like, it'd be really hard for you to find a doctor. Just picking up the phone, looking in the yellow pages. It takes me 5 minutes, and I want to make sure we find someone good for you. I have this, and you're not lying. It's right there. You're on the internet all day long, and we all know where to look. And there's all of these tools online. You can see doctors. You can see what their ratings are. Who they're affiliated with, and by doing that. It doesn't happen every time because you're going to get a couple people that like their doctor and they want that particular doctor. Definitely. But in this aspect, you don't just find them, you solve the problem. You build that relationship with the client to a point where then they realize your value, which is far more than just somebody signing them up for a plan, if that makes any sense. But that's worked really well.
It absolutely does. It's definitely something that Nicole and I, we spent so much time over the list. Let me just give you a quick 15-second story. With this one in-house telesales guy that we have on our team here as an employee who basically put his foot down and said, it is unethical of me to change a client's doctor. And I said, you are 100%, if you do something dishonest, it is 100% unethical to change a person's doctor. But if they told you the honest answers of finding out their problems with their doctor, there's nothing unethical about it. And that's kind of what I encourage you to find out. Find out their challenge with their doctor to then have the conversation if you can change them. Now, that's right. Sometimes it's not going to happen. But I just want to encourage you guys to have that conversation. Don't just assume their doctor is their favorite person in the world.
Right. You have nothing to lose by just asking questions and finding out what they actually need. When we're talking about doctors, of course, we're talking about primary care physicians and specialists. However, I strongly believe that a dentist or an eye doctor should never kill the deal. Okay, because they are not getting the benefits at their current eye doctor or dentists right now. They're paying out of pocket. So in order for them to use the dental and vision benefits that we have to offer with WellCare, their current primary care, their current prescription plan provider, yes, we can find you a dentist or eye doctor in your area that will allow you to use these benefits. Okay, so it depends on the wording too. Even with a primary care physician, if I built a need with teasing them with these benefits and I know this person wants them, Mrs. Jones, I can find a doctor in your area that would allow you to use these benefits. How would you feel about that? And let them tell you. You have nothing to lose. If they say no, okay, big deal. At least you know, right? But never get off the call not knowing if you actually solved the problem of theirs. And you can only do that by asking the right questions.
Nicole, to add to that, I switch a lot of people's doctors all the time, especially dual eligibles. And one thing I add to them is they've got 3 months to try this out. They have, and honest as I can be, if I can't find you a doctor, you can switch every 30 days. We'll find one that works with you. And if I can't, we can put you back on original Medicare and a PDP plan and Medicaid and try again next year. So just being honest with them, tell them, and you can literally switch your doctors every 30 days and we'll find the one that's a right fit for you. But these benefits far outweigh sitting there and walking away from the over-the-counter, the transportation, the dentures, the vision, everything else they aren't getting over a doctor. They're probably just going to get their physical with so that they can go and see their specialist.
I love that. That is absolutely awesome. Again, there's a test there. Try me out. You will be happy with me. I will find the solutions. Stephen, thank you for sharing that. That's awesome.
That is awesome.
No, that's perfect. Well, one other thing, last thing too, is I don't want to keep dragging this on, but if somebody is like, if they're in a rural area and there's a doctor's office that they want to stay with, or putting the address of the doctor's office in the search tool for providers. It's a lot of times just a street address. You might find other doctors in that office that take well care. And so that is another pivot point where you can discuss, well, so-and-so, I know you like this doctor in this office, but there's also a nurse practitioner or this doctor that takes well care. Is it okay? You'll still go to the same office, but we can move you over to this doctor too, and you can give him a shot. That's just another rebuttal or tool to use in the toolbox. And what was that, Steven? I'm not sure who the last guy was that was on the phone.
Yeah, that was Steve.
Yeah, Steve. So like what he just said too, and another thing I use a lot is tally those benefits up. So we're going to save you $2,000 in dental, getting you some dentures over the next, whatever. And then also you're going to save $750 in over the counter, and we're going to get that gym membership and whatever. Now we're looking at about $4,000 of savings in healthcare over the year. But say it over and over again. So they really, because a lot of times it takes a while to wrap their head about what they're getting. And so when they really kind of, oh my God, I'm going to save that much money and I'm on a fixed income, it's worth those changes because it gets them in a better healthcare position, and you just got to kind of make sure that they understand what they're getting out of it, and repeating it helps.
And it is hard for them to believe sometimes that all of this is legit because they're not used to being given all these extras. They're used to getting the bare basics. And even when I'm face to face with people, showing them in black and white, and they still don't believe it. And until you got to make sure that that's building the trust. If they don't trust you and you're telling them you're going to give them all this stuff, yeah, you're never going to get the sale. But if you build the trust and let them know that that you are going to be their contact, you're going to make sure everything's legit. It works for me. But
Yep, definitely, that's good stuff, guys. I want to move us along just because I'm just looking at the clock here. I got two things that I got to hit you guys with. First thing is what's going to happen starting next week. And I say next week because bottom line, guys, is AEP marketing starts next week. October 1st is next week. So one of the questions that's come up is what's going to happen from October 1st to October 14th? What should I actually be doing during that time period? And we say that there's three categories of people that you should be working with during that 14-day period. First category is all these people that you've spoken to over the last year, or less than a year, that have given you this permission to contact them. You can now discuss these other benefits. You can now be talking about the ones whose doctor was out of network and now they're still out of network, but you can put them in a PPO plan. You should be learning your plans during that period. It's almost like a trial run during that period where you're done selling by the time you're done talking to them and they have agreed to enroll and they're disappointed that they have to wait till October 15th in order to enroll. But at that point, set yourself up with some appointments so that the 15th, 16th, and 17th, the only thing you're doing is taking enrollments. Your selling should be done at that point. You're just taking enrollments. That's the first category that falls into there. The second category that falls into there is your current clients. Your current clients are about to start seeing commercials like crazy. Think back to any other open enrollment period. How sick are we of seeing, Joe Namath on the TV and every other celebrity that's doing a commercial? We're sick of it. They're sick of it too, but they're going to start seeing it again starting next week. They're going to start getting mailers like crazy. So this is in their face. You don't want, my mother, who I took care of putting in a plan, got a mailer already. It was a generic mailer. And she started questioning me on it. And I said, you're fine. You're good where you're at. We know where you're at. We know what's happening. Yeah, but. And of course, that's the most frustrating phone call in the world, but we don't have to go there. But the fact that it was my own mother who was questioning me on it, I think you should make sure that they know that you're the person that they call when they have those questions. So reaching out to your clients and speaking to them and saying, hello, I'm here for you. You don't need to talk to anybody else. We got you all covered. You want to make sure you worked hard to get that business on the books that's there already. Make sure you work hard to keep it there on the books. Or if it's going to get replaced, make sure you're the one that gets replaced through. And then the third one that you'd be working would be some new leads that you're getting. So those are the three categories that you should be planning on working. It doesn't start October 15th, guys. It starts next week. October 1st is here. It's time to roll. That was the first thing I had for you. Any questions on that? Okay. If there's no questions on that, I want to go to which one is it here? Can you see my screen where I'm moving the mouse right now? It says 2021 supplemental benefits.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. This just came out today. We are going to post this in WhatsApp, and I think we're even going to create something on our website for it, but you guys should be getting this very soon. Again, WellCare is putting money into certain resources here, and this is one that is really, really awesome. Every time we enroll someone in a dental benefit, a fitness benefit, and let's even talk about the SSBCI benefit, those supplemental benefits. How often do we feel like we're talking a little bit out of our butt when we're explaining them? I know I'm not the only one, and I talk to you guys about it. You know, when we talk about the meals benefits that they're going to get, you guys know what that even means? How they're going to get those meals benefits? Can you honestly tell me how you set somebody up to go do house cleaning? Do you know the process for that to happen? Anybody?
This is Seth. I got the contacts for those if people need it, but it's only for the state of Maine.
Okay, that's only for the state of Maine. But how does it work as far as WellCare goes? They have created they created a video, and you just click on it. It's going to open up a YouTube video. They've created a video for every benefit to explain what happens. What does this benefit mean for 2021? Each video is about 3 minutes long. It is worthwhile for you to go through these and watch these videos. Learn exactly what happens. They also have some supplemental one-pagers. I'm going over this right now because when it comes across on WhatsApp, I don't want you to ignore this, guys. This is pretty huge. When you click on the Flex card, we keep talking about this Flex card and how great the Flex card is, but there's a lot of questions. Things like, okay, wait, when they get that, is it going to have to be activated? Where can they use it? What can it be used on? Here's your answers. It's a preloaded Visa debit card. It can be used anywhere that accepts a Visa. The cards are going to be activated before they get mailed to them. They're going to get them in the mail. Cannot be used for non-medically necessary procedures. So you get an idea. Here's the states that are going to have a Flex card. You get an idea by looking at this. Of this tells me exactly what the Flex card does. OTC benefits. Don't know if you're familiar with this or not, because there's always been a lot of confusion on, wait, are they ordering from a catalog? Are they ordering from a phone number? I bet half the people on this phone call did not know that this OTC card, in most states, they could walk into a CVS and use it. That's a big deal. They could go to the CVS portal and place an online order. That's a big deal. That's, again, this kind of breaks that down a little bit, part of the link. In-home support services. Well, yeah, Mrs. Jones, you can have someone that could come to your house that could do some cleanings, or that can help you with bathing or dressing or feeding or meal preparation or whatever it might be. But most of us on this call can't say when a person could actually get that. Well, here you go. Documentation of one of the following is required. And here's the situations of when a person could qualify for either a 2 or 4 hour increment of 6 to 24 visits per year. And they're going to get the chores done and so on and so forth. Here's the states that it's in. These are great, great, great references. And then the last one, specifically in Maine, but actually it's not just Maine, because it's New Hampshire, it's Rhode Island, Michigan, actually will be in Arizona, is this grocery delivery benefit. It explains exactly what the story is with this. This grocery delivery benefit, there's a membership fee for it. That's what this company shipped actually is. However, the membership fee of $99 is covered for them, so it costs them nothing. They're going to get $50 to $75 per month, depending on which plan. Same day delivery. There's going to be an approved list of grocery items, and they got to use it every month or it doesn't roll over. There's chronic conditions for this plan. You can see right here, here's the chronic conditions in order to qualify, in order to be able to get this. So again, instead of us just sitting there and saying, oh yeah, Ms. Jones, we're gonna be able to get you some groceries delivered to your house, you actually know what the heck you're talking about and how it's going to work. So hopefully you guys will take this and use these tools. It tells you right here, once approved, the member will receive a code to create a login for an account that'll be preloaded on the first of every month with the allotted allowance. So it makes it so that you sort of kind of know what the heck you're talking about, is my point. Again, you're gonna see this on WhatsApp, and we're probably gonna put a link on it on the website, but use this, take the time to watch these videos. Again, they're about 3 minutes long each, but it tells you what the heck is happening for 2021 with all these things. I know we are over our allotted time. Any questions whatsoever? All right. If that's the case, we will wrap it up there for the evening. Hope everyone has a great evening, and I look forward to speaking to you all on Thursday. Next week is the big dance. That's when it all